Hello, everyone, and thank you for the MDCO for inviting Job Access to be part of this year's Pathway to Tertiary event. My name is Daniel, and I'm the General Manager at Job Access. First, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the country in which I'm located today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and recognize their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture. I pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And as we have people attending from multiple regions throughout Australia, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognize their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture. And I also pay my respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. Thank you everyone who has joined us today. In today's session, I will talk about workplace adjustments. Some people with disabilities, including young students and graduates, may require changes in the workplace to perform their job to their fullest. Such changes are called workplace adjustments. These can either be physical adjustments in the workplace or sometimes as simple as having flexible working hours. I will also offer an insight into a range of services delivered by Job Access that are designed to support people with disabilities. These include financial assistance that is available for making workplace adjustments. But first, let's take a look at what Job Access do. Job Access is the national hub for disability employment for people with disabilities, employers, and service providers. It is a free service that exists to remove barriers to disability employment. And our range of services include a dedicated service via phone and website. So we operate a national call center, 1-800-464-800, and it's delivered by a team of frontline professionals who provide free, confidential, and expert advice. Our advisors are available to answer your questions on matters related to disability employment or can direct you to other services. Job Access also has a comprehensive website at jobaccess.gov.au with information and advice on disability employment. We also coordinate workplace adjustments and modifications through the Employment Assistance Fund, or the EAF. People with disabilities employers and Disability Employment Service, or DESs, can access funding through the EAF for adjustments in the workplace. I'll explain more around the EAF later on in the presentation. We also coordinate the National Disability Recruitment Coordinator, or the NDRC, which is the employer engagement service of Job Access, which works with larger employers across Australia to increase their disability confidence. The Complaint Resolution and Referral Service, or CRRS, which aims to improve employment disability services, support services are funded by the Australian government through a fair and impartial complaint resolution process. And the National Disability Abuse and Neglect Hotline, or the Hotline. It is a vital reporting service available to anyone who suspects abuse and neglect of a person with a disability. Some of them may be aware of what workplace adjustments are. However, for the benefit of everyone participating in today's discussion, let me start by defining the term. Workplace adjustments are any administrative, environmental, or procedural change that enables a person with a disability to have equitable employment opportunities and work effectively and comfortably. Not all people with disabilities require workplace adjustments, while some may require simple adjustments like flexible working hours or work from home arrangements. Employers often assume that it will be expensive to make adjustments to their office or workplaces. The fact is that most workplace adjustments are at a low cost, and some changes involve no cost at all. However, you don't need to do this on your own. Job Access operates a national call service delivered by a team of frontline professionals who provide free, confidential, and expert advice on workplace adjustments and modifications. We work with the National Panel of Assessors to conduct free workplace assessments for workplace modifications and support. Such modifications may be eligible for reimbursement through the Australian Government's Employment Assistance Fund, which I will elaborate in the next slide. The Employment Assistance Fund, or EAF, is available to people with disabilities who are about to start a job, who are currently working, and who help you buy work-related modifications and services. And these may include adjustments, special equipment for physical workplaces, modifications to work vehicles, information and communication devices, Auslan interpreting, specialist services for employees with specific learning disorders and mental health conditions, disability awareness training, deafness awareness training, and mental health first aid training. Our internal research at Job Access shows that 90% of modifications through the Employment Assistance Fund cost less than $10,000, and 50% cost less than $1,000. People with disability, employers or service providers on behalf of a person with disability, obviously, can make an application for workplace modification. So the process is to submit an application online at jobaccess.gov.au. JobAccess will assess the application for eligibility of the worker. JobAccess will also advise if a workplace assessment is required. If a workplace assessment is not required, JobAccess will send a form on approval so the organization can purchase the modifications or adjustments and have the cost reimbursed by JobAccess. If a workplace assessment is needed, JobAccess will arrange a specialist at no cost to the employer or the employee to assess that workplace changes may be required. The assessor will visit and look at the workplace, identify any barriers that may exist, and find solutions to make the workplace more accessible and flexible. The applicant then can purchase the approved modifications and have the cost reimbursed by JobAccess. Remember, we're here to help. A JobAccess advisor will manage the process and answer any questions you may have. Detailed guidelines of the EAF are also available online at the JobAccess website. In order to be eligible for funding to make any workplace modifications and adjustments, there is a certain criteria that each applicant needs to meet. They need to work at least 8 hours per week. If they're self-employed, work at least 20 hours per week, earning an hourly income at least equivalent to the national minimum wage. Be in a job that is expected to continue for more than 13 weeks or more because it's meant to be sustainable. Be an Australian citizen or permanent resident, and have an ongoing disability that has lasted or will at least last for 2 years, and the disability must limit, restrict, or impair the ability to work. Again, our professional advisors are available to assist you with any queries regarding the eligibility for the Employment Assistance Fund. Apart from physical modifications and adjustments in the workplace, employees can also access funding support for job interviews, for example. A person who is deaf may require Auslan Sign Language interpreter to be present at the interview. Or the EF funding is available also for Auslan Level 2 interpreting for jobs, interviews, related activities such as site visits, completion of test and information sessions for people who are deaf or have hearing impairments. Awareness training also can be tapped. This can include generic disability awareness training, deafness awareness training, and mental health awareness training. Training is conducted by reputable organizations and delivered by qualified professionals with specialist expertise. Funding is also available for specialized support with provided by professionals with expertise in the areas of mental health as well and mental health disorders. To create a truly inclusive workplace, we believe that people with disability need to feel comfortable and supported to share information about their disability, should they wish or need to do so. You may have heard the term disclosure, used to describe the process of sharing information about disability. Instead, we refer to sharing of access requirements. And this is more in keeping to line with the use of person-first language and focusing on the person, not the disability. A survey conducted by the Australian Association of Graduate Employers in 2017 found that nearly 30% of students with a disability weren't sure whether they should share information about their disability with their employers. This is an area students require the right guidance and advice. So there is no legal obligation for a person with a disability to share information about their disability with their employers unless it affects their ability to do their job or impacts their safety or the safety of their co-workers. In some cases, disability may only become evident once a person is employed. Some people may choose to share information or not to share information, and we need to respect that choice if there is no impact in the workplace. So some of the reasons that people are sharing information is because disability may be the core of the person's identity. Adjustments may be required during the interview or the assessment process. Need to ask for workplace adjustments or flexibility. The company may be actively promoting diversity. This is more common also once the person is settled within their job. There may be problem with performance or team dynamics. It may be involuntary or a precautionary measure in case the issue of disability arises on the job. Some reasons why people may not share their accessibility needs is for fear of discrimination or stigma, internalized stigma or self-stigma, privacy, Disability may not be relevant to the workplace and no need for work-related adjustments. They may be in a short-term casual contract, or they may decide that the person doesn't have a disability or may not identify with having a disability. Again, thanks all. That's all from me and from today's presentation. Thanks again to the MDCO for the opportunity to speak about job access and workplace adjustments. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with us for any queries you may have. Again, thanks so much for joining me.